a great movie. It would be these foreign films, and I would be amazed at how good they were. And I didn't realize, well, the reason was, since nobody cared about foreign films in Dallas, only the absolute best one film of the hundreds available that week made it to Dallas, you know. And so I became a fan of the foreign films. And then I was like, why is nobody reviewing Graveyard Tramps? Why is nobody, they had all these ads. They had all these ads in the paper, you know. Well, why is nobody reviewing Graveyard Tramps? Why is nobody reviewing, Anthropophagus, which was called The Grim Reaper, you know. And so I went to the arts editor and said, what is it with these films? Oh, we don't review those. We don't review those. They're driving films. And I said, well, I'm going to start reviewing them. I like them. And so I started reviewing what were called driving films at the time. I didn't know it would be controversial. It became controversial almost immediately. Because these films were not reviewed by the mainstream press. They were just not reviewed. We're talking about horror films, we're talking about softcore sex films, we're talking about low-budget action films, we're talking about kung fu films, we're talking about sci-fi films. And so I started reviewing them, and the first two people who noticed my column were Stephen King, when he was not Stephen King yet, okay, but he was Stephen King, and Roger Corman. I started a column called Joe Bob Goes to the Drive-In, where I would review films that were considered beneath the contempt of newspapers. And it's hard to believe today that there could be such a thing, right? But they would bring me to the Associated Press Editors Convention every year and make me defend myself. They had a Harvard law professor who had these debates, and no one was pressure for American newspapers. And guys would attack me, and I would defend my comment. And so, and I talk about cancel culture. There was somebody trying to cancel me every week. Baptist Church, the National Organization for Women, very many organizations started campaigns to get me canceled, and in some cases were successful. And so that book, the original book of my original reviews is being republished by Dark Horse Press. I said, no one's going to understand why we're reprinting this unless I write a little essay explaining that at the time these were very controversial. You're going to read them and you're going to say, what's controversial about that? But at the time it was very controversial that we're giving attention to these movies at all. And so that's how it started. I was writing about them. John Waters had written a book, and there was one fanzine in New York City that reviewed them. But no one cared about these movies. They assumed that they would play one week and then be gone forever.
Well, I apologize. As far as a horror fan, I apologize for at least myself as a woman for canceling you. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Joe Bob. The Movie Channel show, since I was a little kid, there was a commercial that would run for the show back in the day. Now, with your wealth of knowledge and all the Google searches I've done over the goddamn years, never been able to find out. There was a song that played with that commercial. I've never been able to find out who the song was by or what the song even is. In your wealth of knowledge, do you have that?
What was the commercial for?
It was for your Movie Channel show. It was like a driving Saturday night. The song was like,
oh, Tearing the Heart Out of Saturday Night? No, that was Monster Vision, right?
It wasn't that, no.
I have no idea.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes?
I'm sorry, this is kind of a long time coming. Just going to be a simple yes or no question. I would have never heard of this movie if it wasn't for Russ Martin. I don't know a whole lot about that. So I guess the simple question is, you ever hear of Russ Martin and how he really went to bat for this movie?
Yes!
I know the Don Coscarelli part of the story, but I don't know that part of the story, I guess.
Hey, that's all right. It's just,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Don Coscarelli is a man who doesn't know the meaning of the word no. Yes.
Hello, this is George Garcia, and I was wondering, which is your personal favorite Roger Corman production?
Personal favorite Roger Corman movie?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I mean, it would probably be A Bucket of Blood or Tomb of Lygia.
My favorite is Death Race.
Death Race 2000. That'd be right up there. I mean, Roger Corman made 700 movies. And, when we had him at the Jamboree in the last year of his life, as our honored guest, I said, Roger, you made these 700 movies, and you're the only person, there are only 2 people who have seen all 700 of them. You and me. It's hard to pick because they're all different. Now, the movie we're going to watch tonight, Rock and Roll High School, he considered his redheaded stepchild. Movie that caused him all kinds of problems, and he didn't really want to, he didn't really get behind it, and it kept succeeding in spite of him. So he liked it. He ended up really liking it because it was such an unlikely victory. It came a midnight movie.
I'm sorry, I do this. I want everyone in the crowd to say something. Hogzilla!
Sake of it.
I was just gonna say, I saw this movie originally in the rural Northern Michigan Film Festival in the early 2000s. It's great to see it again in the second life. My only question is, do you have any other, aside from ass-sucking demonic mummies, do you have any other favorite Egyptian horror movies?
Egyptian horror movies? Well, I had a conversation with Svengoolie about what is the greatest Three Stooges. And we ended up deciding it was The Mummy. You know that episode? Did you know that episode? So, I guess that would be it.
Thank you.
Hi.
So, one of my personal favorite franchises is Bob Briggs' Phantasm because of your coverage of it.
Fantastic, yeah.
I was wondering if there was a particular film or franchise that you were proud to have spotlighted.
Is there a particular franchise that we're proud to have spotlighted?
Yeah, like something that you feel like you know that you're going to be attached to your coverage.
Well, I was proud that we were brave enough to show 4 Phantasm movies in a row. I mean, that's tough even on a Phantasm fan.
That's a real awkward question.
Franchise, every franchise is different. I have another book coming out on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which means I actually tried to make a timeline. Don't try that. Just don't try it. Because there are nine Texas Chainsaw movies, and if you try to make a timeline, it won't make a lick of sense. So, I have trouble every time somebody asks me to make a top 10 list. It's different. The titles are different. Texas Chainsaw is always on there. Reanimator is usually on there. Sometimes an Italian film will be on there, like Suspiria or something. I like so many different types of films and so many genres, so many subgenres of the horror genre that I can't really say.
Sorry.
All right, good evening, Joe Bob. So, every show you do a press count, right? I appreciate that, being someone who appreciates press.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed about new movies, especially when you show them on your show,
Yeah.
press count is much lower. Sometimes it's even 0. Why are new movies, with a few exceptions, why don't they get sexier?
That's an extremely good question, and I have asked the same question of young filmmakers all across this great nation of ours. I have said, where are the boobs, guys? Where are the boobs? And sometimes the ones that have been honest say that they're not comfortable with it. You're not comfortable with boobs? I don't get that. Anyway. So I don't know. I don't know why recent movies don't have a higher boob count. But it's true. It's true.
I think you should
Free the nipple!
only show at least
Christian!
Yeah, I think the minimum should be 6. So that you can have ensemble dramas. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
I just wanted to know, if you were doing like your final hurrah, like your last try, what would be the double feature you want to do? Like your final
If I was doing the final show, what movie would I do?
Yeah, what would be your final 2 films? It could be like your cover.
Well, it would not be Halloween 3. Every time I've been fired, they haven't given me the option to choose the movie on the final movie. I guess it would be Chainsaw. I guess it would be Chainsaw. Okay.
Hey, Joe Bob.
Hey.
I'm a big fan of genre mixing films. One of my favorites is The Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires. And so I'm wondering for you, what would be, is there any genre mixing film that you've seen that was the wildest or craziest that you can think of?
Big Trouble in Chinatown.
Yeah.
It was a great movie, an underrated movie, a movie that failed at the box office because nobody knew what genre it was. And so when people go to a movie, people select movies based on genre. They want to know what genre they're going to watch. And Big Trouble in Little China was not genre specific. It had every genre, but it's a great movie.
Thank you. And when will we be seeing Halloween 3?
Fortunately, the people that own Halloween 3 are not very nice to us. So I don't know.
Thank you.
Hi, Joe Bob. My name's Becca. I accidentally became a staff reporter at my local newspaper in St. Marcus. It's been really fun writing short form content, but I really want to get into arts writing, movie writing, and I just wanted to know your advice for some longer form writing.
Advice for longer form writing?
Yeah.
Here's my question. You work at a newspaper? Here's my question about newspapers today, right? When I worked at newspapers and they had to set them in type, it was always like The article is too fucking long. And so we're just gonna hack off the type, but that's how inverted pyramid style is. We're just gonna hack off the stuff at the bottom. You don't have to hack off the stuff at the bottom anymore. Why are the articles so short? Why are the articles so short? The 2 paragraphs can be an article now on a regular newspaper. What are you doing? You can write. You have all that space. It doesn't cost them anything. Write. Explain things, you know? So anyway, I don't know. I can't give you any advice on long form because nobody wants to write long form. You know, so it's sort of like, oh, city council meeting, they voted on this, they voted on that, okay, it was done, all right, bye.
I think they're trying to save room for ads, but
I don't know, I don't get it.
I'll try my best.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take my message back to the editor of the San Marcos.
The San Marcos Daily Record.
The San Marcos Daily Record. And whatever happened to Ralph the Diving Pig?
Yeah. He's around. He's swimming.
Ralph the Diving Pig still lives in San Marcos?
There's a few different Ralphs.
Okay. I don't know, because I was shocked to learn that they closed the Ralph the Diving Pig amusement park.
It lives on. There's shirts, and they still love them.
Okay, thank you.
Howdy, sir. Thank you very much for being here tonight. The other night I was watching Casino, and I noticed you being in the movie, being fired by Robert De Niro.
And he paid for that.
What I would like to know is how did that happen? Like fired by Robert De Niro.
Well, first I got fired by the movie channel. That scotch from Austin, don't touch it. When I got fired by the movie channel, I went out on auditions, and one of the auditions I went out on was Casino, and I later asked, actually, Martin Scorsese had seen the show. He had seen the movie channel show. Okay, so I had a little bit of an advantage in the audition. And then later, I asked him, we were on the set. I said, Don Ward was the name of that character. I said, is Don Ward? For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Don Ward is the assistant slots manager, or the slots manager in the casino. And 2 giant machines hit jackpots, which is pretty much impossible for 2 of them out in the casino. And so I asked, and I get fired for that. And I asked Scorsese, am I really, really stupid? Or am I incompetent? Or am I a crook? And his answer was, that's what we don't know.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Hi, Joe Bob.
Hi.
I guess as a personal criticism of your own work, what do you think is your most controversial film review?
Most controversial film review? Gosh, I don't know. There were so many that made so many people mad.
People as in the filmmakers or as in the general public?
Well, it's never, the filmmakers just get their feelings hurt. The general public, this general public wouldn't care, but people who don't watch exploitation films that have, a political point of view about something else will come over and down the world, to tell us there's some things that we should not be saying. And so, gosh, I don't know. I pretty much hit every target you can hit. I mean, when I first started doing, I was doing satirical art, and so to me, the definition of what satire should be is you put a machine gun on a swivel, and you hit this target, this target, this target, this target, this target, this target, without any thought what you're doing. And then somebody will scream, some target will scream, to hit them 20 more times. That to me is what satire should do. You know? And so that's what I was doing, but in the world that I advanced to after that, if you hit the person that's screaming, that's the person who cancels you, you know? And so the whole world changed at a certain point, and satire wasn't satire anymore. That it makes sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
People lost their sense of humor also.
Yeah.
Let me say one more thing about that. I made fun of every president, starting when I was in college. I made fun of Richard Nixon. So how many presidents is that? To me, it was like a point of honor. You always must make jokes about the president. So here we had Nixon, we had Ford, we had Carter, we had Reagan, we had Bush 1, that's 5. We had Clinton, we had Bush 2, we had Obama, we had Trump, we had Biden, and we had Obama, and we had Trump again. So, 11 or 12 presidents. And for the first 9, everyone assumed, yes, he's a comedian, he makes fun of the president. No big deal. No big fucking deal. Everybody makes fun of the president. That's what we do. We're Americans! So there started to be a little bit of backlash in the Obama people. A little bit. You know, shouldn't be making that much fun of Obama. Should not be telling that many jokes about Obama. And then when Trump came in, oh my God, you make one joke about him and you're the, I mean, it just cascaded in to where you couldn't, we lost the ability to make jokes about the president when we got the easiest target in history. So I don't know what you call that. That was a huge sea change in the culture. You know, I'm confused about it and influenced by it, and so I don't understand it. But anyway, let's move on. Too much.
Howdy. I'm a bit of a new viewer of your show, so forgive me if my question isn't as deep as some of the other ones. Actually, that person Becca from earlier was the one who introduced me to your work, so thank you, Becca. My question is for either like current, like younger filmmakers. Although I know you probably already answered that with the boob thing, but like, do you have any other advice for like either younger filmmakers or creatives in the field besides showing more tits? Which I think is a solid piece of advice, by the way.
Well, I made a complete statement about this in the outro to One Cut of the Dead, if any of you watched it. Everything that I said in that speech sort of bound me more closely to the indie film community. And when I say the indie film community, I'm not talking about the people that go get the $2 million film that's produced by, the local bank or whatever. I'm talking about people who have no money and still manage to make a film. I've been, a champion of those films ever since then, and I try to watch them, and I try to stay in touch when they send them to me, and I can't watch them all. I tried to watch them all, I can't watch them all. But my advice would be what I said in that speech, which was don't listen to anybody. Shut it all out and just go make the film. You're wasting your time and you're hurting your family. And you're wasting money, and just don't listen to that shit and go waste money and hurt your family.
I'll get around to that episode eventually, I think.
Okay.
All right, Joe Bob, this is our last question. Take it away, sir.
Okay, thank you. I just want to offer a devoted, or not devoted, but a very devout thanks to you a few years ago, you came to Dallas for another presentation. That time it was of the film Sleepaway Camp. I had not seen it before. I was there with my wife and our son, and he was in his 30s, okay? I had already made him into a lifelong Joe Bob fan from way back. Anyway, the point was, I would never otherwise, unless you had been its patron and sponsor that night, have been able to see Sleepaway Camp on the big screen. And that's particularly important these days, because I understand they're doing a remake of it.
Oh, they are? I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I just read about that a few weeks ago.
Well, this is partly why I do these ACFA shows, because there are lots of movies that don't get the attention that they should get, and are movies that are still in need of being rediscovered, and ACFA is saving a lot of those movies, and yes, and ACFA has theatrical prints of those movies, and so you can watch them on the big screen. Very few people want to venture out of their house to watch a movie on the big screen. And so, yeah, that's another thing that we're trying to do. We're trying to return to the communal atmosphere that makes film so much more fun to watch. Okay, I have a question for everybody out there. How many of you hated high school?